Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with a couple of great products from the company Maxpedition. Here I have a couple of their Gearslingers. Here I have the Lunada and I have the Noatak. Both excellent offerings with a few features that are similar and a few features that are different. So depending on what you're trying to do, one of these might be a better offering for you. Now this goes back to the legacy line of products which have been around for close to 2 decades, if not maybe more at this point. But this little Lunada, very cool, and it kind of gives me that euphoria and going back to the day when the Malaga for me was my very first Maxpedition product. I loved that bag. It was absolutely amazing. And this is very similar in many ways. And that's the thing about Maxpedition products, and especially with the Legacy series, they have had familiarity throughout their lineup throughout the years. And so with that, we'll get into these in a whole bunch of detail. And so as we get started here with the Lunada, this is the larger of two. So there's the Lunada, and then there's also the Remora. And as I mentioned already, very similar to the Malaga. But then again, here you can see the overall size and dimensions, a 9.8 liter pack, or in other words, 600 cubic inches. There's a main compartment here, which you'll see as we get into this. So the main compartment across the top, number of accessory compartments and pockets. So a very simple design in terms of the standpoint that Maxpedition, unlike some other companies, keeps their organization fairly simple, yet subdivided at the same time. And so I'll show you how, once we get into this, a couple of very simple open pockets, but this does give me the subdivided capabilities that I need. So the main compartment here, a good size, as you see, fitting my hand in here. This would be a good size for rolling up a jacket and putting that inside. Couple of water bottles, number of different items that you might need to carry around. Now for me, I've actually been using this to bring around, and as kind of funny as it sounds, a whole bunch of my knives. I have a bunch of my designs that have been kind of showcasing and wanting people to see, so I've been putting them in here and kind of bringing them around with me. I've been using this gear while I'm out fishing and doing outdoor activities, so that's been fantastic. And so for me, this has already been very versatile and flexible, and has given me the ability to use this in a number of different ways. Now here on the front, you can see a simple slip pocket. Now this goes to where I'm saying we have some subdivided capabilities in this bag, yet it's simple at the same time. Because this doesn't have a bunch of loops or other attachment points, it leaves this very flexible to the user's needs. So this is a great place to lock in keys, wallet, things that you need secure on the inside of the bag. All the way around, as most people are probably aware, but if you're new to Maxpedition, very high quality materials. So you end up with your ballistic nylon, very high quality. This is a 1000 denier weight, so very heavy, nice and robust. And this has already been used for about a year. And you can see it looks pretty much brand new. And that's the key with these products, is they really hold up nicely. High tensile strength webbing, high tensile strength threads, everything very robust, double stitched, bar stitched, and box stitched when necessary, and everything triple polyurethane coated for water resistance, so water will bead right off of these products. But going back to the inside here, you can see as we open up that flap, some additional accessibility here too. If you wanted to CCW, you could certainly hide a firearm in here, which is not a bad thing. So that's actually not only Velcro lined for Velcro holsters, but different tools you could put in here, pouches, the ability to add a number of accessories. Very simple, and I like the fact that that's actually kind of hidden there. Then along the back side, a simple slip pocket. This is padded, so you could put a tablet device in here. It would be very easy to slip a nice quality tablet, and as I mentioned, padded on the back side. Now as we get around to the back side, you'll see undoing all of the clips, high quality Duraflex buckles. Maxpedition always doing a fantastic job with their hardware. The buckles, very robust. Things like the D-rings and keepers and all the little hardware, again, always very nicely done. But getting back to my point, on the back side, not only do you have that nice quality padding, but again, the ability to potentially CCW if you wanted to carry on the outside of the bag, that works out very well. Simple little snap enclosure if you wanted some added security, so the ability to snap that. And if you want to introduce a waist belt, you can do that. Now this does come with a couple of different sling style attachment points and little keepers, and the ability to carry this strapped across your chest. You'll notice that this chest strap does have a whistle on it, which is kind of nice. So not only do you get the benefit of the chest strap, but multi-purpose where you get that whistle, and this can be removed if you want to. Now the interesting thing about this particular model is it is a fully ambidextrous design, so you'll notice that the shoulder strap comes down and through the middle of the bag. That's a pro and a con at the same time. A pro because this bag can be carried on either shoulder. A con because it's not contoured quite the same way that I personally would prefer for my ability to carry. As somebody who's right-handed, I actually like to carry these bags over my left shoulder so that my dominant arm has a full range of motion and is not inhibited by the bag. But the fact of the matter is the way that this is constructed leaves this fully ambidextrous, so you can kind of swap the straps around whatever way you need for over the right hand shoulder or over the left hand shoulder. A lot of simple straps and lashing points all the way down the front of the shoulder strap, and even to the point where there's these little slip pockets. So their designs are very slick. If you kind of get deep into these, you'll realize that sometimes it's more than meets the eye. That's not just a simple stitch going across there. That's actually a great spot for an ID, some cards. You could put a little fixed blade knife in there right on that shoulder strap. Thinner cell phones, things like that. So really neat in terms of their general design philosophy. They do a very nice job. Back to the front of the bag, again, some simple organization. As we get in here, you can see nice open pocket on the front. Taking my hand and slipping it in there, you'll see it is just about, the size of my hand. So again, you can put some real basic, simple gear in there. This does have that grommet. That grommet does go down and into the inside of the main bag to allow that to drain out right there, and then also in the intermediate pocket, as you can see right here. So as we get into this side, a bunch of organization, some of the elasticized keepers here now, so a little more subdivision, and this is more of an admin style pocket. The ability to get some simple items in here, notebooks, pads of paper, all sorts of different types of gear. I've actually used these bags quite a bit as range bags. These are sized well for magazines. You can put boxes of ammo, things like that. So a very versatile bag that you can use in a whole bunch of different ways. And what I like that they did here is there's this little subtle gusset right on the side. So this stays nice and flat, but when you go to build the bag out, that pushes out just enough to accommodate gear on the bottom and on the sides so that it doesn't push into the bag, rather allows it to expand out. So this Lunada, a very nice design, very well done, and I like some of these little subtle features. Little key keepers, things like that. And then as we get across the top of the bag, again, on the outside here, a slip pocket where I've put sunglass cases in here. You could put small little tripods, different things. If you're like a photographer and need a little day bag, that will work out very well. And then as we open up to the inside here, again, somewhat of an admin style pocket. Very simple, very basic. You get that elasticized keeper going across the front, slip pocket in the back, the ability just to keep some basics up in the top of the bag. Pens, pencils, erasers, if you want to use this for kind of more of your supplies and things like that, but all kinds of stuff you can do with a bag like this. So the Lunada, very nice design. Now to the Noatak, again, slightly different design philosophy here. Very nice, a lot of the same kind of features, but definitely laid out quite different. So depending on what you're trying to do, you might find that this is advantageous, or maybe the Lunada is more advantageous. And I think that's why these make a nice comparison, because you can really see how these differ. Now right away you can see that this actually has the external water bottle pocket. So again, the ability obviously to put water bottle or something in the side, but you know, for me, I like to put my tripods and some of the gear that I need while I'm filming, so that works out very well. You could even put, you know, little collapsible trekking poles in here. That would be no problem. Little cinch keeper on the side here to keep everything nice and tight. Going across the top of the bag, you can see high quality webbing and nice grab handle. And rotating around, this goes to one of the very kind of core differences, which is this is not the ambidextrous design. You can see here, as you are going to wear this particular shoulder strap will literally go over the left hand shoulder, which again, for me being right hand dominant, I do like that. So this is a left shoulder carry, and a nice large oversized buckle here. Again, all that good quality Duraflex hardware. Nice quality keepers. This one having a metal clasp right on the shoulder, so you can clip off gear right onto your shoulder. That's sweet. Couple nice little straps that you can get, you know, a knife or, you know, different things like compasses or equipment underneath there. So again, depending on what you're trying to do, very flexible. But in terms of the general construction, this has that sort of Y keeper design over the top. This strap here allows you to tie this whole bag down. It can be removed, so if you don't like that, you could remove it from the top and the bottom. I know a lot of people do that, and I really personally don't use this a ton, so I am probably one of the people that will long-term remove this. However, if you don't, it makes a fantastic place to lash a jacket, where if you roll the coat up or jacket nicely and get that in and under these straps, it'll sit in there beautifully on the outside of the bag. So kind of reduces the volume inside the bag when you start stuffing it full of your jackets and outerwear, so it's nice when you can keep it on the outside of the bag. Now as I go to open this up, this is not exactly a clamshell design, but it gets you close, and it's made so that you can sling the bag around the front of your body and open everything up and get to your gear. A little bit different in terms of the organization philosophy. You'll see this long zipper across the top. This gives you the ability to get into a couple of subdivided pockets here. So mesh pockets here and here with some Velcro. So again, you have the ability to add additional pouches here, or you could put things like different labels or morale patches. If you put a med kit in here, you could put a little medical patch on the outside just to designate this as your med kit area. And it's a single zipper all the way across the top. So that's one thing just to consider. Slip pocket here on the inside. Again, the ability for you to add your own subdivided capabilities, leveraging other Maxpedition pouches or even from other brands. They will fit in here nicely and give you the ability to split things out. You can put some paperwork in here or different things. You just need to be a little bit careful that you don't accidentally dump things out when you open this up. Now across the front of the bag, you now have the ability to open up this pocket here. Again, not fully clamshell open, but as we get into this, again, the ability to potentially CCW in here if you wanted to and kind of stow a firearm away. Nice size morale field or Velcro field. Little side cut pocket here for your gear. Again, as this is more of that shoulder sling bag, they cut the pockets with the ability to sling the bag around the front and still hold all the gear. So you'll notice that things are more at angles versus up and down or left and right. And then down the front, you have a little security button here, so that snap, keeping that nice and secure to minimize how easy it is to get into these pockets. And again, just a real basic pocket. Keys, wallet, simple essentials right on the front of the bag. Of course, as you're taking a look at this, you'll see that there are, different MOLLE fields all over Maxpedition gear. So the ability to add different attachments or pouches or gear to the outside of the bag, that's nice, and that's typically the case on any Maxpedition products. Little things too, like for example, you get some ladder MOLLE here with a couple of lashing points. This gives you the ability to tie things off and attach things to the bag in alternate ways that you otherwise might not be able to, which is nice. Again, across the front of the pocket here, you'll see that this is pretty simple, where you don't end up with, you know, a huge area, but you can definitely slide some gear through from one side to the other. So again, you have the ability to slide stuff through some of these tough little areas. So you got to kind of poke around at these bags to realize what's truly stitched down tight and what gives you opportunities to slip and slide other gear through these given areas. Morale fields, bungee, shock keepers all over. Real nice in terms of your ability to lash gear and add gear to these packs. And last but not least, as we rock this around and just getting the chest strap out of the way, again, another padded pouch, but this gives you the ability to either carry a small water bladder or potentially CCW right inside. Padded nicely. You can see across the back, good quality padding. And this one's built out just a little more, where some of the straps are padded in areas where this might rub. So this is going to do a nice job to distribute some of the weight. And even though it's a single shoulder, system, which is going to be a little less comfortable than a, double strap backpack, everything being padded nicely and padded in the appropriate areas should definitely help out. So again, here the Noatak, very nice offering, really a sweet bag from Maxpedition. And then the Lunada. Again, keep in mind the fact that there are definitely many, many more models. And these are just a couple of the sling bags I've been rocking for the recent history, I'd say about 8 to 10 months at this point of fairly regular use. And of course, with Maxpedition products, I definitely like them. Maxpedition always doing a great job. Excellent construction. Great in terms of the ability to stand up to hard use and long-term use and still look good and look the part. And these bags break in wonderfully. They always start a little bit stiff. The zippers, a little bit stiff. The fabric, a little bit stiff. But the more you use them and the more they break in, they become about perfect. So good quality, high quality gear from Maxpedition. Thank you to the people at Maxpedition who did provide these for review. If you guys like what you see here today, do me a favor, look in the description box below where you can find all of the relevant links for your own Maxpedition products. If you like what you see here, do me a favor, take a look at the other Outer Limitless channels. My family of channels, you're here today on Outer Limitless, my primary hiking, camping, backpacking, outdoor gear. Outer Limitless 2, which is the tactical and firearms side of things. Outer Limitless Blades, which covers all the sharp and pointy things. And Outer Limitless Lights, Headlamps, EDC lights, indoor, outdoor lighting gear. You name it, that's the Outer Limitless family of channels. So alright guys, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.